right now I'm thinking that people are building like traditional web apps using AI, and
Mm-hmm.
they're using design systems and sort of layouts and common design patterns still. Have you seen any new design patterns come out because of AI? Yeah, yeah. What?
Chat UIs. Everything else is staying the same. And honestly, I think that's a good thing because the whole thing with web design trends and stuff, like, nah, if it's a good UI, it's a good UI. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like we can't be like, oh, grids are outdated. So I haven't seen any movement in that in probably 4 years, maybe. But chat UI, the chat style UI, to be so 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 popular, and like the cursor for X
Mm-hmm.
UI.
Okay. Well, something to keep in mind while you're working is I'd like to see ways of having, so that's the new design pattern for AI input, where we as the user are able to interface with the AI. I want an AI pair programmer interface, something where it can be present and communicating with me passively. Like I can be doing stuff while it is actively doing stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
simple example would be is if I had a second monitor, if it could mirror my screen and then overlay information that the AI is adding as it's watching me do things and having inputs, that would be cool. Voice could work, but that'd be annoying. It would be voice is it's so hard to communicate visually, like about the computer interface through voice. That's probably not going to be it. But yeah, something to think about. I haven't seen anyone do it yet, but like that would be huge. The equivalent of a person sitting beside you being like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, wait, click down a little bit. Yeah, okay,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Like you didn't know about that feature. Check it out. It's super cool. You could have done that faster, right? Like,
The only reason why I feel like that doesn't exist is because of tokens. Like AI already uses a ton of tokens, and that's with like intentional inputs. If it was like watching you the whole time,
mhm.
then I imagine it would be crazy. That being said, the way I see AI going right now, especially with the release of GPT-5, it seems like the actual, let's say, intelligence of AI, I don't want to say it's peaked, but like, let me say this for example, TVs in 2005, televisions. You had these big boxy things and then flat screens came out. How far have we come from flat screen TVs? Not really, it kind of peaked. But
yeah.
they've gotten a lot cheaper and more accessible. That's what I see happening with AI right now. So like I don't think we're going to see a whole bunch of very smart, like much smarter models coming out. I think we're going to see models with similar intelligence that are way cheaper, more efficient and more refined, which is going to make it so you can like just abuse tokens, you know what I mean? And you can use AI for like anything and everything.
I've got a simple now version of the thing I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What if we built an AI chat interface that was it was an AI chat inside of an AI chat. So one level deeper, where like I'm talking with AI every day, but I'm not doing it in the most effective way. No one's sitting over my shoulder watching me and commenting on me do it. So AI chat interface, which it limits the number of tokens to half of whatever you're able to actually do with the AI. We then pass the conversation into the AI again and prompt it to say, hey, how could this be more effective? What are some opportunities I missed? What is something I can learn based on this conversation that could make the conversation more effective? So every time you interact with it, it teaches you something
Mm.
about how to interact with it.
Yeah. Without having to ask.
Yeah.
I got an idea for an even simpler version of that. Picture a Chrome extension that could be used with like ChatGPT, Claude, and all of that stuff, and it added another button to the chat, like a little light bulb, for example. And so you typed in like, "Why my apps suck."
Yeah. How the data work.
So you saw this little icon. You click the icon, and it kind of analyzes based on the chat what you're asking, and it's like, okay, so maybe we should reframe the question like this because you should be more, you know, intentional with how you ask. You should provide it with these following things of context. Maybe it even asks you questions and be like, give me this info so I can refine your prompt. That could work.
Yes, and make it not a button, make it happen automatically, and I'm in.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's
Mm,
possible, but it's gotta be like I want it to be always happening. I don't want to have to think about doing it.
I wonder. I wonder.
My the extent of my relationship with AI is using it in chat. I've used it a
Yeah.
tiny bit in make.com, but is so just like scratching the surface. I haven't messed with agents. I've been seeing all these updates, but have not got into it, which um is like intimidating. I look at it all
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know, y'all are already ahead. Maybe I can just like ride it out. I don't actually need to learn how to do this.
You may be, I'm just going to say 5 minutes behind us right now, but every day that you don't do it is another day you're behind.
Oh,
I've probably had a month of learning words and like possible things, but in terms of actually doing, you could build something in a day and know the same amount that I know with in terms of just like building something, hooking it up with MemberStack.
well, if you could help me understand why I should be excited, that would be helpful. I use it a lot for small bits of code that I write, but traditionally I've like solved my bigger software problems by buying software. The most simple now solution is there's like an $8 a month service I can pay for like MemberStack, right? Like I'm not gonna try to recreate MemberStack. But it seems like AI is changing things where I still can't go recreate MemberStack, but it might make sense to actually build software now instead of going to buy it. And I can give you a specific example if you think that would be helpful. I'm working on this local community project. The gist of it is there's been more and more research that things like kindness, curiosity, patience, these are skills that if you practice, you get better at them. And everybody has different baseline levels of these skills based on how they were raised and how they were taught. But anybody can get better, just like throwing a baseball. Some people are going to go pro, but if anybody practices, they will get better at doing it. So I want to create spaces where people can come together to practice neighborly skills. And I have all these different events. I'm going to try to host 30 gatherings in 30 days and invite friends and people who live near me. But I also need to like manage signups and potentially charge people, be able to send out emails. Like I could use Substack. I could go and use like a yoga scheduling software that maybe is going to cost $20 a month. I can use MemberStack for the auth. I could use Make to glue it all together. Like I right now know how to design, to plan the project. I could create it using all of those tools for like less than $100 a month, but it's probably going to take a week of tying it all together and then steady debugging and fixing. Like you two are fully aware of like the problems that come with no code tools, but also how much better that is than me having to go and pay someone 10 grand to build this from scratch.
You already just mentioned there, I guess X amount of years ago, the alternative was to pay 10 plus grand at probably like 6 months of someone's time and
Yeah.
then like welcome no code tools. And you could build this now in a week. Now you could do it in 24 to 48 hours.
Nice.
The management would be a lot more simple. You already just mentioned there, I guess X amount of years ago, the alternative was to pay 10 plus grand at probably like 6 months of someone's time and
Yeah.
then like welcome no code tools. And you could build this now in a week. Now you could do it in 24 to 48 hours.
Nice.
The management would be a lot more simple. As an individual and what you're good at too, your like management and design skills, pair that with Claude. And like you've already solved like a big chunk of probably what I'm spending time perfecting, like how it looks and functions, you've already got.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this, if you're tying a whole bunch of no code tools together, like you said, that would probably take a week. And at the end of the day, you would have the monthly bill. Now, the thing about that is bill for something which is an absolutely critical piece of your product that has to work. That's one thing because I see that as like Webflow. Whenever someone says, "Oh, Webflow's expensive," I say, "No, it isn't," because as a guy who uses and loves WordPress and Webflow, well, when you flow and put up a site, you don't have to touch it to keep it working. Whereas with WordPress, you do. And that's the thing here. Using those tools, as in having one or two things that you don't want to manage yourself, that is a good thing. It is so good now and so much easier that the thing is you can very quickly and very easily rebuild all of those things with AI. Everything that you mentioned, for example, a booking tool, you will be able to build that very, very quickly. I feel like something a lot of people would do very, very early on into coding with AI is they go, oh, now add this feature. Oh, now add this feature. Oh, now add this feature. The thing is, you still have to manage that. You still have to manage that code, right? So you need to put it on yourself to everything you build. Go, I want this to be there. I want this feature to exist. I'm willing to manage this feature, and it's not so complicated that it's going to cause me problems. But
Interesting.
if you can sit there and go, here are the actual moving pieces that it needs to have, make yourself fully aware of those things, then it's a game.
Should we try something? Like, is it easy enough that you could walk me through setting something up right now?
Yes.
I'm intimidated by code editors.
Yeah.
I've downloaded VS Code like 6 times. I delete that thing after like a month because it just freaks me out.
I swear developers do this intentionally to gatekeep development.
Because for the first time, completely and utterly changed my job role.